welcome to another edition of One Mic here on RSG. Always want to remind our listeners to go to at Real Sports on all social media platforms. Check us out. You can also find these two gentlemen on social media if you want to engage. You know, brothers even trying out TikTok. I didn't think I would ever try that, but I'm trying to get my TikTok game together. I'm not quite like Darnell, but I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get my TikTok game together. You can also go to realsportsguys.com if you want to check us out there. We're gonna be rolling some stuff out. We're getting close to a lot of big stuff tournament going down, and in terms of college basketball, you know how we do it around here in RSG. But before we get into the proceedings, as my man Marcus the Game Changer will always say, we definitely want to acknowledge our folks in Spartan Nation at Michigan State. They had a shooting that ended up killing three young people. Senseless violence as we continue to see this prop up around our country. But like Hammer and I, and Hammer used to work at UW. There's a tight Big Ten family in the Big Ten Alliance. We pay attention to it. Working at Wisconsin, I know our leadership, particularly our provost, sent a really just heartfelt message to our academic leadership about this and how he was feeling, because it's as leaders they talk to each other and connect. My former faculty advisor is dean of the college of education over there. I texted him to see if he was okay. It's a tight knit community. I know Darnell growing up, Michigan has a lot of friends who are at state. Isaiah, who's been on our show, just graduated from Michigan State. So it's a tight knit community, and our hope is that we try to do something to keep these things from happening. And we have to do this. We can't continue to have these promising people who have bright futures who can impact the world in such a positive way, who are there to learn and engage and grow in ways that can be positive, have an impact on our lives. And so there's a lot of things we need to be doing. But today we just want to make sure that Spartan Nation knows that we are with them, and that we are here to support them through whatever needs to happen and support. We're gonna talk about sports today and have fun, but we are the kind of place that always uplifts some of these important issues, and I think it would we remiss to not mention that. I know that's something that's been impacting us, and we've been communicating in our text messages, and just want to bring it out to our folks. We got a big show. We're gonna tie a bow on the Super Bowl. A lot of stuff going. Do we got a dynasty in our hands? We got some trash talking going on. I got my own thoughts about trash talking. Like, there's some rules to the game, and we might get into a little bit of that. And then we're gonna talk about a little bit of NBA life and time. So the association is popping. I mean, it's popping so hard it took over the Super Bowl, and so we need to spend some time in navigating and understand what's going on with that. But before I get into this, I got to bring in my co-host. I think we just lost somebody. This Midwest, the weather's going on. I don't know what's going on. It's affected us, but we're gonna fight through this. But I'll spend a few minutes with my man Darnell. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Really just looking at this Michigan State thing. I'm a long
Mhm.
time Michigan State fan. Like I said, like you said, went to school with a lot of people that went to Michigan State, and a lot of friends that went to Michigan State. That sort of deal. Still have friends that go to Michigan State now. I mean,
Mhm.
in that graduate program, and just school shootings in general, I believe just have been so they've been far too normalized, right?
Yeah.
It seems like it happens every couple months. There's another school shooting. Every couple months there's another school shooting. And actually, there's a student at Michigan State right now that was also a student when at Sandy Hook when Sandy Hook happened,
Mhm.
and that just goes to show like how frequent this has been happening, and that's just extremely alarming. And I can't really imagine how she would feel, the young lady that
Mhm.
that experienced that lived through and experienced both Sandy Hook and the shooting at Michigan State. I mean, it's just tragic times we're living in.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to a colleague, and you know, they are talking about they are trying to hand out bulletproof vests to young folks, to kids. Like it's like you get your backpack, your back to school backpack, and and now we trying to get you with a bulletproof vest. I mean, it's like you
The
know,
home of the free.
yeah, you know what I'm saying, and um, you know, we need to definitely pay attention to this. This is you know, this is getting to you know, other countries have figured out policies and how to address these things. We just are choosing not to, and so um, uh, you know, we need to be holding people accountable. You can't the trauma if you put on top of what these young folks had to go through with a pandemic, and we're still trying to figure out how this the isolation and all these things on top of it. Um, you know, we are a powder keg, and we need to be thinking about we need to be addressing these things, and you know, we should not be having this happen on college campuses or elementary schools and all these places. We should not be people. These are places like I'm growing up. Like the worst thing you could have happen was, you know, you're gonna fight on the playground because somebody kicked you when you was, trying to go for a ball, and somebody gonna quickly come in and break it up, like, in ways. But you know, the school was the safe haven. You know, people, there's neighborhoods where you had to try to figure out how to get to school, but once you got to school, you was good, right? And it's like sometimes it might be better to be in the neighborhood than be in the school. And that is, it's crazy in so many ways. So yeah, I mean, we have a generation of young folks who growing up and seeing nothing but violence, right?
Right. And just to speak on that, I grew up in a little different time when I can remember my sophomore year. There was a threat called into the school. This dude named Rock that went to Willow Run.
Mm-hmm.
They said he was gonna come up to Lincoln and shoot this dude guy on the basketball team named D Man Demarcus. So I remember, man, I remember I was like, man, I'm not going to school that day. But yeah, it's just like this sad reality that we live in.
Yeah, and so the most we can do is we can be there for each other, and that's what we're gonna try and do while we try to work on this stuff on a larger scale. And we will shed light on this platform. We will be talking about these things when appropriate. So, we got my man Hammer back. How you doing, man?
All right, man. Bulls lost a 24-point lead tonight, so uh,
Hammer, it looks like you going in and out on us. Uh, you know, so try to fix whatever's happening with you. You got to come back with the
last yeah.
yeah. You going in and out on us. Now you clear. So we'll get him back. We'll get him back. Um, but we got a lot going on. We got a lot going on, Darnell. So we'll get Hammer back in when he's right. We're gonna keep the state moving. We're the real sports guys. Just how we roll, y'all. We got real jobs. Cats trying to do stuff. This is how we do. We're gonna try to keep it clean as much as we can. But when we have technical difficulties, if y'all want to help us out, when you go to those social media platforms, if you want to drop a little money on top, we'll help that to help us with this production. Life and Times in the association. Let me make sure I got this right. Uh, I'm trying to get my in the association. So a lot's been happening. Back NBA basically took over Super Bowl prep week. It just took it over without the trade deadlines, all the different stuff happening. Um, we got we got Durant, and so I think the last time we were on the podcast, like that was when Kyrie moved, I believe. And so we thought that was it. And I remember Darnell was going back like, I really like this Brooklyn lineup. And you look at it like, wow, this might be a lineup that Durant might stay for, because in some ways it was almost pre-Durant lineup that everybody fell in love with that Brooklyn team. The other team had Karis LeVert and some of these other pieces, but this one was as interesting. And all they needed was really a superstar, and that was Durant. He's in house, right? And then all of a sudden we start hearing rumblings that Durant going to be traded, and then he ends up in the Valley of the Suns. Uh, we're not going to get into the why. Let's get away from that. But it's happening. Darnell, talk a little bit about what you think this means and what it means for the Suns, and what you think, given the way the rest of not just the West, but the rest of the league is shaping up in terms of these moves.
Well, for the Suns, I mean, this puts them back in relevancy. I mean, before the trade happened, you had Chris Paul, who he's on the downside of his career. He's been sharply declining after turning 37. But after this trade, we saw I think it was yesterday, he found that fountain of youth. I mean, he had 17 points, 19 assists. He was looking just like the Chris Paul we saw a couple years ago. But yeah, it's going to really re-energize that franchise, especially with new ownership. I mean, this trade happened right after Matt Ishbia. We just spoke about the Spartans. A fellow Spartan there, when he finally got confirmed as the new owner of the Phoenix Suns, he pushed quickly to make this trade and put all his chips on the table. And now, with a lineup of Chris Paul, Devin Booker, it might be either a Torrey Craig or a Josh Okogie at that small forward spot, and then you have Kevin Durant and Ayton. I mean, that's a pretty balanced lineup. You have a lot of scoring, a lot of length, a lot of experience with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. A lot of guys that are head on straight. So it seems like a team that can contend, and the team that right now you have to look at them as possible favorites in the West. And as for Brooklyn, you saw him today. Mikal Bridges, he just coming off a 45-point game tonight against Miami, and that team is looking like they can still be an interesting team over there in the East, especially with the assets that they've got with all those draft picks. And with Brooklyn, I think Brooklyn they were offered 4 first-round picks by Memphis. Memphis offered them 4 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, and they turned it down. So that just shows the direction they're going in and how much they value Mikal Bridges. So that's just something to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Brooklyn is like in that early stages of how the Celtics were building. You have a young star who like Bridges, who had a chance to be under the tutelage out there in Phoenix, and has really grown a player. You can see him; he's got that champion chip experience. So he's seen big games, and now he's having a chance to show his leadership. Good foundation. And so yeah, I like where they're going, and it's one of those things where you got to have the courage to turn the page if you can set up the right way. And I feel like after all the stuff Brooklyn been in, they're in a really good place. I think both these teams, it's rare to have trades where you feel like both teams are where they need to be. We could talk about obviously where Brooklyn wanted to be with the talent they got, but given all the stuff they was dealing with, I mean, I think they landed in a really good spot to really build and make something happen. Hammer, we were just talking about Durant going to Phoenix, and then also about the other side with the Brooklyn side in terms of Darnell seemed to believe this really positions the Suns to make a run. And so, what was your feeling about where Durant is, and what Phoenix can do?
Well, the only problem with Phoenix right now is the lack of depth, though. I mean, they got 3-4 great players, but the lack of depth is going to hurt them as far as it goes. I heard Darnell talking about Brooklyn. Yeah, Mikal Bridges could be a superstar player as far as his talent goes. But let's not kid ourselves. They put together James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie for a reason, to win a championship. And a lot of people take Milwaukee. They were one foot or one centimeter away from beating the Bucks and maybe going to the finals. So I mean, they're a young team. They're going to be exciting. Like, they're not going to have the assets, but let's not kill ourselves again. They're not anywhere near the championship right now. It is a step back, even though it's not a step back where they've stripped it down and build it back up. It's a step back where they're going to be competitive. They're going to put butts in seats, and they'll be able to again have a product that's at least decent.
And but they had a 5-alarm fire. Like Hammer, like that was the house was on fire.
They brought those malcontents.
Right now, they like the Jeffersons. We moving on up. Like they went from the house is on fire to we moving on up. Like you could never thought they were going to be able to reset. Like they basically right where they were on that trajectory. I know what
They
you're
should
saying.
never.
You're
They should
right.
have never gone
They
after.
rolled
They
it
should
in.
have never
But
gone after.
the problem what they did before. Now they realize is you can't get all that talent together without a really good coach to hold it together.
I don't
Right?
care if you have Phil Jackson. I don't care if you have Phil Jackson. They are a bunch of malcontents.
No,
These
I don't believe
21st century
I
ball
don't believe that.
players.
If they had Udoka in there, them cats ain't acting like that.
Man,
You know
Udoka couldn't
that.
even control his own life. So how you
You
gonna control
know
a team?
that.
How can you
They
control
either
a team?
gonna
He
act
controls his
right
own
or
life.
fight, right?
Man.
They ain't acting like that with him.
You don't bring
know
those.
that.
You don't bring those knuckleheads together, man. You don't bring those knuckleheads
You think
together.
Mark
They're
Jackson?
not.
You think they act like that with Mark Jackson?
I
And
don't
there's a
know.
question.
I don't
And
know.
Ime Udoka was there when they first got there. Ime Udoka was on the
Yeah, but he
sideline.
wasn't calling the
Yeah,
shots.
he was.
He wasn't
Yeah,
the
he
head
was
coach, but he
shots.
was in
Yeah,
the locker room.
Yeah, he wasn't calling the shots. That's
he
different when
wasn't
you
calling
calling
the
the
shots.
shots.
Yeah.
That's different. I'm talking to calling the shots, Udoka. They ain't doing. You know that, man. We going
I can't
back
say
room.
that, man. I can't say that,
We going
man.
back room.
Man, these coaches
They
always
doing
are
like
expendable.
they doing
These
like your
coaches
boy
always are
Ham.
expendable,
They
D-Wills.
doing like Darvin Ham with
Dill,
Westbrook. We going behind the curtain. Them some behind the
again.
curtain guys. They ain't doing that with the behind the curtain. I'm calling them behind the curtain guys. Like we can talk about this
Well,
in front of the curtain,
Darvin's
or
another
we can go
breed,
behind
though.
the curtain.
Darvin's another breed. Darvin's another
So it's
breed, though. I mean,
Udoka.
Darvin's a type of true, but I
Yeah,
still think
right.
with
Yeah,
those
like
three,
Marvin
I
Ham's
don't see it.
second though.
Those
You
three,
gotta
I still
remember
think they're bad. They're bad. I mean, look at Kyrie. He's out tonight. I mean, also he popped up an injury report. I mean, he's always hurt. He's hurt in
no, he's
college,
not
hurt in the
always hurt.
pros.
Come on now.
Yes, he is
Recently,
always hurt. Look at all
he
the
ain't always been
games.
hurt.
Let's look
Come
how
on
many
now.
games he
And
played
we are
over his
going to
career.
like. All right. We got to. So you kind of segued us. I'll give you that. You segued us. So I'll start with you, Darnell. We get some off and on looks with Luka and Kyrie. Was it last night or whatever they were trying to play hot potato and figure out. I think they're gonna figure it out. They're trying to figure out who's gonna lead and whatever about it. What are you seeing? They're still trying to work. I don't think we have a good enough sample size, but what are you seeing right now? What do you like? What do you have concerns about?
I'm seeing exactly what I said before they even played a game together. Luka's gonna have to make an adjustment, learning how to play without the ball, and learning how to balance playing with the ball and without the ball. And Kyrie, he's gonna have to adjust to the pace of the way Luka, wants to play, because Luka plays at a much slower pace than Kyrie really plays at. Because if you watch that game, like watch the full game, that fourth quarter, Kyrie was cooking, but he had 26 points in that fourth quarter. But at the end of the day, when he's going, he's making decisions like this. He's making decisions like this. You know what I'm saying? The ball's downhill, making this. He's either making that decision to make a move or he's passing, right? When Luka gets the ball, Luka wants to, wait, hold up. I'm surveying the field. Okay, I got the smaller matchup. Okay, you come here. I'm gonna set the. You don't need you to set the screen. I'm gonna get the switch. I'm gonna post up the smaller guy, take the step back and shoot it. You know what I'm saying? If they double, I'm gonna pass it. They play at different paces right now, and they got to figure out how to mesh that on the offensive end. I think they will eventually, but like I said, the biggest issue is going to be on defense. And surprisingly, I heard Maxi Kleber is coming back after the All-Star break, and that's a miracle of science, because he tore his hamstring. I'm not sure what they did. He got some deer antler spray or something, but that's going to help.
They got great science now. They got great science now, man. This is 21st century, man.
You said
great science now.
Right?
Deer antlers, man. They got great surgeons, great PT. They got the best medical care in the world, man. I ain't surprised. But look at football. Cam Akers came back after Achilles during the same year in football.
Ooh, yeah.
All you young cats, man, come back. Yeah, deer antler spray. You hilarious, man. You sound like you my age.
We can go get you.
You ain't 25 years old, man.
So Hammer, the Warriors, make a move Wiseman to Detroit. Then they get GP2 back, which I think is a good move. They need a stabilizer, but I saw Steph talking about Wiseman. I saw Clay talking about it was just a matter of like we didn't have the scenario to allow him to grow here because we trying to win chips. That's basically what we hear. Like we'd have a space to allow him to get the kind of growth because we trying to get chips, right? And it seemed like a a move that needed to happen for both parties. But they get GP2 back, but at the same time he came in and he didn't really pass the physical. So I don't know what's going on with us. This stuff is like I don't know what it is, but what do you make of it for Golden State?
Well, Golden State didn't want to pay a luxury tax with Wiseman's increased salary next year. That's the bottom line of this deal. I mean, yeah, he didn't acclimate. He acclimated clearly. Really, what happened with him? He only played a little bit in Memphis. He got hurt at GSW. He never got in the flow. They tried to give him G League minutes. It just didn't work. I mean, that doesn't translate to long-term success as far as at the Warrior level. You might be able to play G League and go with these other teams that are middle of the pack or maybe the Oklahoma City's of the world. But bottom line is that you're not going to get this brother who hasn't played basketball in a long while, has been hurt a lot, to get him acclimated to some championship ball. It's not going to work. So it's a good scenario for both. He could start over in Detroit, with a good big man, Jalen Duren. Some K Command comes back. I mean, he could develop there. They'll have more patience there. But yeah, GSW, they got to win chips, and they got one of the best defenders when he's healthy. Portland also realized Portland's got some bad press out here, giving bad players and really being dirty in deals and stuff. So they knew that when GP had this core issue and all that stuff like that, and it was hurt, and they tried to peddle him out there, and they tried to get a sucker Golden State because they wanted him back, because they didn't want to sign him last year. So I just think that the bottom line is that it could be a good deal for both teams. Both teams are kind of rolling the dice as far as GP 2's injuries and James Wiseman having most potential in the world, but not really basketball polished yet in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm glad to have him in Detroit. Come on, welcome, young man. Welcome to Detroit, baby. We love you. We'll make it happen. We add you into the mix with Cade. I'm feeling like, hey, it starts somewhere. I'll take you. Come on. We're the right place for you to water up and get you right. We okay with you, young man. Come on over to Detroit. We come to the Midwest. We got you. We got you. All right, Darnell, what do you think about this Warrior situation? And I know you posed a question just around the injury stuff as well with Portland, and I don't know what they're doing over there in Portland.
Yeah.
They clearly didn't have what you say, the deer antler spray. They clearly didn't have that.
Well, the first question, the Warriors question, they righted their wrong. They know they know what Gary Payton brings to the table. They let him go, like Carl said, for money reasons, and now they're seeing some of the effects of not having him on the roster. They need that. And seeing James Wiseman play today, it kind of reminds you that he has some growing to do. He's very talented, but you see he's forcing stuff, jacking up shots. He's playing. He's still kind of immature, you know what I'm saying? And like Carl said, it's not gonna work. Definitely, it's not gonna work when you're trying to win a championship. And Golden State, they're confident in the core that they had that won them a championship last year, because they need to figure out some of the bench minutes. But if you still look at that starting five of Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Looney, and Draymond, they still are plus 22 in all their minutes this year. And last time I checked, that is the highest plus minus of any five that's played this year. So they're obviously very confident if they bring their same core healthy to the playoffs, that they can still do what they need to do. But from the Portland side of this, it's fishy with that core injury, because if you remember a year or so ago, Damian Lillard was going through the exact same thing. Remember Damian Lillard? He had that core injury that he played through, the abdominal tear. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
He played through it. He said he's been playing through it for a year and a half, maybe 2 years, going into the Olympics. And then he finally got the surgery after the Olympics. But they had been pushing him out there, and he's been probably doing the same stuff they've been telling Gary Payton to do, taking those torador shots and all that kind of stuff. So I think that really just is a reflection on Portland's medical staff and the way they do things over there.
Yeah, and they got to get that straight because you're not a destination place, but you got a coach, you got some people to draw. But when you have those kind of elements, it's one thing that plays against you when you don't have other things working in your favor. So that's a piece that's got to be under control. And I think one of the things, Darnell, you kind of alluded to that I think is also true about the Suns in a way. In playoff basketball, you can play with a shorter bench, and also the way the games are going, like the breaks and the way things are set up. You can play if you don't have a deep bench. That's a luxury, but you don't necessarily need one with the way the games flow, the way timeouts work, the way TV, the way the time in between games, the way the flow goes. In some ways, the way you talk about Golden State, if they're confident in their top 8, let's say, they might be good because of the way you can stagger minutes and the way that you have breaks between games and the way that works versus how the regular season flow when you're doing the back-to-backs and it's just different in its flow. And playoff basketball is just a little bit different in terms of the flow of the in-game flow, and also the flow in between games is a little bit different in terms of the way those things work. So you can work with shorter benches.
I've been saying that all year. I mean,
yeah.
Even when we've been talking about Wiseman, some of these guys, I'm saying like, shoot, come playoff time, Wiseman's not gonna play. He's not gonna be in the rotation. You can already see it now. They're gonna start to. Kerr's been playing with this lineup of Kuminga at the 4 and Draymond at the 5, and then they're gonna stagger the minutes as well. When Draymond needs a rest, they're gonna throw Looney in there, and then they're gonna try to play with that rotation.
But what we're right is that you got one of those guys got to play. So now you see Kuminga actually stepping up. Like one of them had to step up, and Kuminga seems to be righting the ship. They couldn't just not have any of them step up. But Kuminga is righting the ship, and they needed that. And so we were right. It wasn't Wiseman, but we knew one of those cats had to step up. And Kuminga is kind of find his way.
JaMychal Green, he's been shooting. He's been shooting the blood out the ball. He just come back from that injury, so he's going to be another guy. And then you add on to Anthony Lamb. That's 8 guys.
And I think that's good, but I don't know if that's still good to beat some of the elite teams. It's going to be right.
And then you're going to have Gary Payton and then Dante.
I love it, but I don't know if it's going to still be good enough to get down with the Suns and Clippers and Denver. I mean, and then on the East, I still don't know if it's going to be enough to finish. It's going to look good. They're going to battle. They're just gonna go down with they're just gonna go down a little. It's gonna be a little harder. They're gonna go down like Diego Corrales against Money Mayweather when he was pretty boy Floyd. They're gonna keep getting up. They're gonna keep getting up. They're gonna look like they're doing a stanky leg, but they're gonna battle to the end. Somebody gonna throw the towel in. I'm with them on that. So we'll figure it out. The Lakers. I don't know why we talking about the Lakers, but the Lakers get rid of Westbrook. They get a lot back. Hammer. I mean, it's on the rundown, so I got to address it. It looked like they're doing some stuff. I'm with it. I'm Hammer.
Yeah, it was a good deal. I mean, it was a good deal.
It's a good deal.
Yeah, it's a good deal. I mean, Pelinka finally did a deal, and Westbrook just never blended. It was one of LeBron's blunders as usual, trying to be a GM when he's not. And his tweet was, maybe it's me, yeah, it's you. That's why the team hasn't been together, because you trying to freelance being a GM, stick to being the greatest scorer of all time as far as points go, not point per game, total points. But the bottom line is that I like Beasley.
I would say
Russell.
this. I love a Hammer. He'll find a sneak diss. He'll find one. He gonna give it all, but he gonna give you that sneak diss. Okay, go ahead, baby. Go ahead, man.
I grew up in Chicago, homie.
He said he gonna get you with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, he allows it to happen, man. So So the thing is, I like Beasley. I like Russell. I think really, also Rui Hachimura during the trade deadline is a really good move as well. They're getting some pieces together around LeBron. I still think it's enough, but because AD is really slipping. They've been 1-4 without Westbrook. So yeah, but I mean, it's a good move as far as getting some more perimeter players. They need it, and giving LeBron again that perimeter complement to his to his game. So I like it. I don't think it's enough. But
yeah, and LeBron's been out 3 games as well during that time, right? So I mean,
yeah. Well,
they're not
he's
fully.
He's always sitting out like 15, 16 games a year. My man wouldn't do that. 82 at 35 years old.
Yeah, but LeBron
low
at
management,
38
low
is
management.
down near the top of the league. Come on, man. He kill him at 38. I'm giving you 15 games on that. He's not our guy over on the other locker room in the Clippers. He's not him that nobody ever talks about. He's not
No,
Kawhi.
they talk about Kawhi.
I mean, that's who we need to talk about.
Kawhi.
LeBron, you might not like him with your Jordan argument. Like y'all Jordan guys are like y'all like the Beehive. Y'all like saying something against Beyonce. Boy, y'all come out like, my goodness, y'all come out like that. But
we ain't saying nothing against Beyonce. No,
yeah.
B's untouchable. So no,
I know you got that's y'all the same way about Jordan. I'm like,
we ain't Amari Hardrick.
Y'all like you say something about Rihanna. Y'all mad.
I love that performance. I love that performance.
Yeah, I love halftime performance was off the hook. That's that. Other than the person like they almost fell off that thing, that platform trying to do whatever they were doing. You saw that video where the performer fell off the platform. Man,
I saw that.
I'm like, it was a good idea when they thought about it. They saw that kind of person almost take that spill. They're like, maybe we should have gone with the plan B with that. So Darnell, the Lakers, man, what you make of it?
They did what they had to do. I mean, Kyrie's off the market, so I think they did the next best thing they could do. They restored that depth that they needed very badly. I think we missed the biggest part of the trade. Not the biggest, but a very
don't say Scottie Pippen Jr. and Malik Beasley. Don't say that now.
Jared Vanderbilt.
I like Jared Vanderbilt.
I like Jared Vanderbilt a lot.
He's a good player. Yeah, good compliment player. That's what the Lakers need. They need some dogs.
And he allows and he's another big wing defender that can play next to Anthony Davis and can take a little bit of that responsibility off of him. And another trade they made was Mo Bamba, bringing in another big.
I don't know about that, man. Mo ain't never hit the surface of his potential. I mean, the biggest thing about Mo is his song. That's the biggest thing, man. But Mo, man, I'll see. I was surprised that move. Orlando would give him away.
Did Mo Bamba get in a fight with Rivers?
Yeah, with Austin Rivers.
Yeah,
talking that junk. Yeah.
Rivers. And Rivers like, this is my house. He's like, I got some people over here.
Well, Austin Rivers is from Orlando.
Yeah, he's from Orlando. This is my place.
He grew up in Orlando. Yeah, Doc was. Yeah, he grew up in
Orlando. I like Mo Bamba.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I think
he hasn't grown. He hasn't done with Miles Turner. He's not. I mean, he's scratched the surface. He's up there. We want to fight more than we want to play basketball.
Yeah, but that's player development opportunities. They got some good coaches to work on. Like, sometimes you got to do that kind of work with it. But I like him as a young piece. I'm surprised. I mean, I didn't like the fact that Bryant got out of there again. He was doing good work.
He asked for a trade.
He asked for a trade, but I'm like, brother, because you asked for it, I ain't give it to you. I don't understand. Like, look, man, I love you, man.
You don't need no malcontents. You don't need no malcontents.
But that kid is the nicest kid. He gonna ask for it. He's not really a malcontent. He gonna speak up. I don't think he's not gonna be in the league. He's not gonna be a problem in the locker room. That kid is not gonna be a problem in the locker room. That kid is not. I'm not even gonna put that on his name. He's not gonna be a problem in the locker room because he asked for it.
He was problem enough to be traded.
He's not gonna be a problem in the locker room.
They traded. They really wanted to keep him. They would have kept him, right?
Yeah, but I thought they looked at it
over the summer.
I think the Lakers do. The Lakers do what the Lakers do. They thought they saw something else shiny. Because they had Vanderbilt coming in. They saw the shiny piece and realized they keep thinking they looking over the fence and get a shiny piece on the wrong stuff. It's like, nah, this kid is a rough rider. Work with him.
I'll take Vanderbilt over Thomas Bryant any day of the week.
Yeah, you say that now.
That way too. He's more versatile.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, especially Vanderbilt and Mo Bamba.
Yeah,
I mean, well, what's that? They have a big lineup with Mo.
You could go Bamba. You go Bamba at the 5, and then AD at the 4, or you go AD at the 5 and Vanderbilt at the 4. I mean, you could go either or.
It looked good on paper, but that young man, when AD was down, that young man was balling.
Yeah,
he was balling. Like I knew he was gonna ball. He was balling, prove it. So Lakers, I don't know, man. I like my Pistons better than the Lakers. The Lakers, I don't know. Lakers ain't doing that. They'll make the play in. I can't hype them up no more. They'll make the play in. I'm done with the Lakers. All right, let's move to the Super Bowl, man. I don't know where to start. A good thing. My supervisor, my boss, I love him. He's from Philly, and I saw him today. I said I didn't get a chance to extend my condolences. But man, them Philly fans, I don't even know what Don Staley is probably mad at. Boy, that way that game ended.
It's a travesty, man.
Yeah, and it's funny because you watch people and they're like, "Well, he did it," but it's like a last second shot. That's a no call. It ain't like he wouldn't go get to the ball. Juju was nowhere near going to do anything with that. Like you could see that was not the play. But it was a hell of a game. I really enjoyed it.
It's a great game, man.
Yeah, I mean,
except for the playing surface was awful.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what. I mean, the NFL, my goodness, how can you mess that one up?
Some knucklehead, man.
You this is the
facilities,
right? It's like this is the thing. Like it's almost like you need to have that cat. I don't know if you ever saw that. I think it's on Showtime where they talk about the whole thing with Dre and them last year. They got this dude who does all of he's amazing. Like because they have to get all that stuff on the field like in 5 minutes. Like they actually need to make that guy in charge of the field because he seems to figure out how to get things done. I don't know who they got working that field. They out there like I thought they was ice skating. I'm like, is this the USFL? This is the XSFL or is this the NFL Super Bowl? So, but Patrick Mahomes did his thing. He did his thing. And just your general thoughts. So Hammer, I'll go with you. What's your general thoughts of the game, and just as you reflect on it.
It was stunning how again Philadelphia couldn't get pass rush. Some people are talking about the training surface. I don't think it's all. I mean, really, if you look at the difference between what KC losing to Tampa Bay a couple years ago and this victory was offensive line. Orlando Brown, Creed Humphrey, they really improved their offensive line very well. And so that's the thing that I really was excited about. And Darnell talked about it last week as far as playing between the lines and really, Kansas City dominated the line of scrimmage, and that's why they won. Isaac Pacheco went off. Kelsey went off. Mahomes had all the time he needed because he had to. Because the high ankle sprain, he hurt the ankle and still came back balling. So that's the thing that I really saw was, again, tremendous as far as controlling the lines and really the game plan by Kansas City. And I love the quote that Ariando said that Coach Reed doesn't talk to the press when he's down at halftime. I was like, okay. That's original, but it was a great game, and just saw how Big Red did it, and look forward to next year and them do it again. They got all the pieces, and they're going to do it again. They show they can win without Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill made a lot of yards and a lot of money this year, but he signed watching at home like with us, the Super Bowl with us this past Sunday.
Yeah, I think they started the third most rookie snaps this year. That's amazing. I mean, and they got all those draft picks coming. I mean, they're in an interesting place when you think about how they got things kind of set up. Darnell, just your general observations.
Yeah, like I said, my key's the victory. Got to keep Patrick Mahomes clean. Got to keep the bodies off him. They did. They did a great job of that. We talked about the Chiefs' offensive line, and a couple names that can't go unnamed is Trey Smith, one of my top guards out of college a couple years ago out of Tennessee, and the right tackle Andrew Wiley out of Eastern Michigan University here in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Mm-hmm. He played a great game. I think I got to take my hat off to the offensive line. They allowed them to do what they do, but the biggest takeaway is Andy Reid and his play calling. I mean, they did a great job in the second half, especially using that arrow return because the Eagles, especially in the red zone, they run a lot of man-to-man. And one thing they were doing at the beginning, they were when they were running the arrow, right, motion, and then they're doing the return off the motion. So before they got to that, like Kansas City uses a lot of motions, right? So when you run a guy across the field, one thing the Eagles does, they will pass guys off. They'll try to pass guys off across the formation. So you saw one time with Darius Slay, when I think it was Hardman, when he was motioning, he was trying to pass him off to the next guy, and he was going to stack, going 4-on-4, is going to stack and take Travis Kelce man to man, and then he went on a return. And he was by himself, and you saw that exploit happen a couple of times, in over the course of the second half, and that was a big part in the Chiefs winning the game. So I got to take my hat off to Andy Reid. And to another note on the field, um, I actually believe the field does play a factor in as far as pass rush and offensive line versus defensive line, because especially during I think the biggest part of it was the logo, where the logo is, but um there's a different, but biomechanically it's different when you're trying to get off a sprinter stance and running forward, right? Than anchoring and pass setting. I think when the floor is more is slipperier, I'm sorry, it'll affect the defense a little more than it'll affect the offense. And I think that was a big part of um, the way both offensive lines were able to perform in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think the Eagles' defense and not making some of the adjustments. And sometimes you can get into your ego. It's one of those things where this is the way we play, and it might have been a scenario where maybe it's better to play some zone. I think part of what kept them from playing zones, they're scared of Travis
I
because
was
his
gonna say it's
ability.
Travis Kelce.
They're afraid of him finding the holes in it. And I think Herm Edwards did a really good breakdown of this in the ways in which they were losing leverage and not forcing Kansas City towards the help. And so you can see that right down in the red zone where guys were jumping on the inside and then, release back on the outside when they had help on the inside. So there's just some things that were not working that sometimes a pass rush can cover up. That might have been stuff that's happened all season.
Yeah.
But because the lineman could get there, you know, you might not have been caught on that kind of stuff. I thought Jalen played a great game. He had the fumble, but I thought other than that, that kid played. He balled out. And I wish they would have found a running game a little bit more than just him. And I think that's something that they're going to have to really look on the offseason. I know they got their Sanders, they got a set of running backs, but
Sanders gone. They'll let Sanders go, man.
they probably let him go.
Yeah.
They got to continue to develop in that running game to and get him to the point where selective running. But I think they gotta find a really they got to think about where that running game is going to go, because they needed that running game other than Jalen to be effective. But I mean when you talk about 38, 35, I mean they did what they're supposed to do. They what they didn't get help from is the Philadelphia defense.
Yeah, and in my opinion, with that, I think that's a lot of that is by design, right?
Yeah.
Because when you have the quarterback running, because everybody knows from football, there's 11 players on both sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, when you hand the ball off, the defense is going to have that +1 because you have the quarterback that's handing the ball off. When the quarterback's running the ball, you're taking away their numerical advantage. So I think that's and you saw it be effective in a lot of different times. That's a big part of the offense, and I think that's really why they're doing it, and it was very effective. I mean, especially the time they went empty and they ran quarterback belly. That was great. And a lot of the option games as well. They ran midline as well. I saw, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think the advance of their running game. I think everything you said is right, but I think there's some things that even as they might even take from even I mean Kyle Shanahan in a way, thinking about they still have to find a way late because you're getting the body blows, right? We talked a bit about the body blows,
Yeah.
but so late in the game, you still should be able to get those gas plays from your running backs, right? In a way, if you're setting it up the right way. And I just don't think it's just and we're splitting hairs with this, right? But I'm like, it feels like there's a little bit more imbalance to it because it's so much of it for all the reasons you're right. When your quarterback runs, they got the advantage. You and I are right. And and when you got somebody like Jalen Hurts who's like is I don't like to say a running back and a quarterback. He's a quarterback who can run very effectively. That can become fool's gold over time, right? And so I think their next, how do they protect against that? How do they still get the effectiveness on 25% less carries, right? Where can you start to balance that? And I think that's where Philadelphia is. And I think they could really go because I think he's ready to play that way, right? So it's about, do you have somebody who can, no matter what, even if they got it, still gets yards after contact, right? Even though they might be there, they're running hard enough to get 3 or 4 yards anyway, which makes that even more potent. And I think there's something there that, as I was looking at that's the next phase of their offense. But all the things you point out are right on track.
And I got a name for you.
Huh?
And I got a name for you.
Who you got?
They got pick 10 and pick 30. At pick 10, they could get Bijan. At pick 30,
Bijan at 10.
Or at pick 30, they could get Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean,
they're gonna get Jahmyr Gibbs. That's the most mocks have. Yeah, that's the most mocks have.
Can you imagine their offense with either of the two?
I think it'd be more likely Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah, so that'd be really good. Yeah, really good. Young legs,
y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it here.
Yeah.
Y'all heard it here.
But going back to
our draft analysts, y'all heard it here.
Yeah, a lot of them. I think some of that is leaving. They trust Jalen. They obviously trust Jalen. They want the ball to be in the playmaker's hand. He's going to make the decisions. They're going to ride or die with it. And going back to one of my other keys of victory is one of my key of victory for the Eagles was to end every drive with a kick.
Yeah.
Whether that be a field goal, whether it be an extra point, or whether it be a punt. And there was that one play. That one play, I guess it ended up being the difference of the game. They didn't end that drive with a kick. They ended up it would have been 7 points the other way, and that was the end of the game. No, not the end of the game, but that was the difference in the scoreboard. But.
Well, and one of the things everybody kept talking about, Andy Reid made the adjustments, but he's got Eric Bieniemy there, who, I mean, if you're talking about running, Eric Bieniemy is more or less as a former running back, probably emphasized the running part. And I know Andy Reid was trying to bring his name up as much as he could at the post game. Look, both the Philadelphia Eagles coordinators got jobs. Yeah. I hear people talking about folks got to call plays. Hell, the Giants hired Judge, and he was a special teams coach. I believe Nagy for Chicago. I don't know if he even called plays before.
He called plays end of the year.
I mean, they've hired coaches who haven't called plays. The number of cats who coached for Holmgren. Well, Holmgren was calling plays. They still got jobs, and it's just like we keep moving the goalposts. Right now. Huh?
So Minnesota's coach right now.
Yeah,
he didn't call plays. He didn't call plays. Zach Taylor didn't call plays. Yeah, he didn't call plays.
Yeah, so I know the question is, will he ever get a job? I mean,
no, that's the question. No.
And so I know interviewing with the Commanders. Huh?
He gonna get the Commanders job. I mean, he has to do it, but I mean, it's racism with Bieniemy and its performance. The only time he's been an OC in his career was at Colorado. He was awful. Okay, awful. And so, I think he's better than that OC.
But
let me finish.
But hold on, Hammer.
Let me finish.
To highlight that as if some of these other head coaches weren't awful in their job.
You all know. You
see what I'm saying?
Shane Steichen got fired. Shane Steichen got fired with Chargers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So again,
Mike Bobo just got hired again to be Georgia's offensive.
Yeah. My point is that we all know we gotta be better than the best. We gotta be DeMeco Ryans. We gotta be Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel's a guy, brother, who didn't call plays. and he got a job, and he made the playoffs this year. But I just think Bieniemy really saw his legacy with that Colorado stint. I really do. Him and Emory, that was the worst combination of Colorado football.
But no, but
especially
you
seeing
can't
what Deion's
sell.
in now.
Hold it,
It's even worse.
but Hammer, he has 5 straight AFC championships and 3 Super Bowl appearances and 2 Super Bowl where
he ain't
he's clearly calling plays.
Man.
He's clearly
he
calling plays.
He's not calling
Come on,
plays. He's
man.
helping.
No,
he's consulting on plays.
We can't even make that argument. If you had a white coordinator with half that success,
he's right though.
He's a genius. But
right.
So I'm not even pointing out the Colorado stuff.
I said it's racism and his performance. I said both, didn't I? I said both.
But I'm saying I'm not even pointing that out. He got the evidence. You can't even point that out. When was that? What year was that?
Man, that's the only time he called plays.
What year was that?
It was probably 2000.
We just proved that the Minnesota coach didn't even call plays. He didn't even call plays.
Well, again, brother, it's different.
When was that? Like, was that during the Obama administration? What we talking about?
It was. Yeah.
So what are we talking about? In recent history,
he hasn't called plays.
Anybody's the OC for a team that went to 5 straight AFC championships, 3 Super Bowls, and won 2.
And he said 15 interviews. He had 15 interviews, didn't get one. 15 interviews, bro. 15, 1-5.
And we gave Joe Judge a job.
Man, Bill Belichick was a special teams coach, wasn't he, when he first started out, right?
Hell, John Harbaugh was a special teams coach.
Yeah,
I mean, these guys have coached other positions, but John made his bones as special teams coach.
I think Bill Belichick was defense. He
was defensive coordinator.
But I think he started off though doing special teams.
He started off. But that's what happens.
I said it's racism and it's performance. I said
it's not racism. It's racism.
It is racism.
Cut the other piece off. There ain't no performance.
It is.
That is racism. We can't even bring performance in when you've been the OC for a team that went to 5 AFC championships. There ain't no.
He OC in name only.
That's
man.
5 years of excellence.
He OC in name only, man.
No, he ain't OC in name only.
If Big Red really wanted him to call plays, he would have done like we did with Matt Nagy. Let him call plays.
He let him
call plays.
He let him call plays, right? That ain't Big Red calling the play. He's calling plays out, isn't he?
No. Big Red
he is.
Big Red
Come on, man. You are buying into that perception.
I'm not buying into it. No, I'm just saying to do that 15 interviews. It's not like we didn't hire. I mean,
no.
Miko got hired.
Hold it. You heard was it Sirianni's a press conference?
Oh yeah, he was awful. Yeah.
Come on, man. Man.
Well,
like that's how it works.
He got co-signed by Frank Reich. That's why he got the job.
We make it about the victim. We make it about the victim. Yes, we do.
He's a victim, and
right now I'm not giving no outs. I'm giving no outs.
Part of his resume.
I'm giving you no outs. There are no outs. I'm giving you no outs. I'm giving y'all no outs.
It's not that
brother won 5 AFC championships and he's got 2 Super Bowls. I don't care. I don't care if he's mush mouth. He winning.
Well,
and y'all don't hire much mouth. No, we gotta stop co-signing on that. All right, I believe that. We ain't gonna ask him. We kind of know where the Eagles are going. All right, who won the trash talk? Now I got to talk about this. Juju Smith, Schuster. I'm gonna say this, man. You're a former Steeler. Ain't no way in the world. You should just be happy to have a ring. Ain't no way in the world you should ever post anything.
He happy to have a ring. He got $1 million. $1 million wins.
Yeah,
you know it, don't you?
Just go. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to take the victory and walk off, but then no, you got to be TikTok Juju. Got to do the reason why you had to get out of Pittsburgh. You got to show up when you didn't. What did you do, brother? And then they had to come back at him. Like the whole thing. Like I'm all about trash talking. I take it, man. I'm with it, man. But you got to bring some substance to the game. And you got to be the right person to open your mouth. And Juju, you're the last person to open your mouth. But the trash talking game, my boy Brown had to come back at him. You know. And then who else came up? You did post something else in the chat, Darnell. Did you? Who came back at him? Because they put up his final 6 games of he had no touchdowns.
Oh, LeGarrette Blunt.
Yeah,
LeGarrette Blunt.
Garrett Blunt. Yeah,
I mean, man, where's the? Sometimes you just got to ride off into the sunset. That's what I like about Patrick Mahomes. Just ride off into the sunset. Say what you got to say right there appropriately in the press conference. I think the only person who be trash talking because he's good at it is Travis Kelce. That brother from the Midwest. All this Midwest nice. Travis Kelce pushes back on all it. Travis Kelce can talk junk. I like the way he talk junk. I like the way he give it to you. He give it to you with bass. He give it to you with the mic on. That's how you do it, Juju. I don't know how y'all feelings about these post game kind of things, but yeah, the trash talking thing. I had to say something about that about Juju as a former Steeler. You always gonna be a Steeler, brother, but damn, shut up, take the ring and go. All right, I think that's all I said. I don't know if y'all have anything to add to it. That was more my point than y'all point. I think they're not
yeah.
gonna say
I
it.
won't even comment on Juju. Juju's an embarrassment. So Juju Smith is Keyshawn called him. Juju Smith. That's what his first name was before he Smith Schuster. Juju Smith. Yeah. So whatever, man. Yeah.
All right, y'all. It's been a great show. We try to drop the mic, and we've had it, but I'm changing the format of drop the mic. Our drop the mic is about each of us giving somebody their flowers. That's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna in a day and age when we're dealing with all stuff on this show, we're gonna try to give somebody their flowers as our closing remarks. So each of us will, however they want to do it, will give someone their flowers. All right.
I'll go ahead, man.
All right, go ahead, my man.
No, I give my flowers to Patrick Mahomes. They doubted you. They thought you weren't going to get the Super Bowl. They thought Cincinnati was going to beat you again. Now, obviously, that dummy on Cincinnati helped him. But no, playing with a high ankle sprain for several weeks and gutting it out and even getting injured in the Super Bowl, still coming back, brother. You are going to be one of the best, if not already one of the best in the league right now. So give you flowers, your family, and it's sad that the Bears passed on you. Mitchell Trubisky dropped the mic.
All right, Darnell, who you gonna give flowers to? Who's your shout out to?
All right, I'm giving my flowers to Alabama, not the Crimson Tide, but our brothers and sisters in the great state of Alabama, because last week 200 students walked out of a class at an Alabama high school after they were reportedly told that their student-led Black History Month program could not reference slavery or the Civil Rights Movement because it made one of their administrators feel uncomfortable. And I just want to give their flowers and just give them a round of applause for their stance, because they're waking up. And there's something I've been waking up to over the last couple of weeks, especially hearing of Ron DeSantis, because I haven't been following politics as much as I used to, as much as I should. But I just learned that this stuff is really going on now. Like you have DeSantis, he was actively trying to change the AP advanced placement, their African American history curriculum, and trying to water it down and have them revise it before they bring it back. And he was saying that programs of diversity, equity, inclusion, stuff like that, they're going to cut off all their funding and stuff like that. But we're really dealing with some, hardcore stuff. And I just want to tell these kids that I'm proud of them for taking a stand and stepping up. So that's my drop of mic.
Thank you, man. You making me feel like, wow, I love this. Thank you for sharing. I feel like I didn't even say anything after you put that out. You did an excellent job. You captured the spirit of this. I wanna give flowers to young brother Jalen Hurts. When you think about his journey and you think about the way in which he handled his business at Alabama, the way in which he handled his business at Oklahoma, the way in which he handled his business when he came in to the NFL. This cat, and Hammer always hear me talk about this, is about talent development. A lot of times we have this fixed mindset about where people's trajectory can be. It just drives me crazy about how we talk about the possibilities. I just never had that mindset. I believe if you have a mindset of greatness, you can get there. And this young man clearly has it. And on top of it, it's not just the way he's performing in the field. It's about how he's built everything around him. He has an all-female team. His agent is an African American woman. The way he's built this, who's going to be helping to negotiate his deal, like just every element he's putting together at the age he is, and just the wisdom that he brings, and you could tell in the way his teammates and the organization and people have responded to him. But he is never shook. He is all about that grind. He has a sense of commitment and work ethic, and ability, and I just want to shine that on him as well, and just continue to wish him well. And all these young brothers who are coming behind him, seeing him as that's the model, baby. You got him, you got Mahomes. You in the way that they carry themselves. So this is good. Thank you for listening to us. Um, Here at RSG, one mic, Real Sports Guys. Again, please go to realsportsguys.com and to Real Sports Guys on all platforms. On behalf of my co-host, Darnell Kirkland Jr., Carl, that hammer, Hampton, Chi-Town's finest, we want to wish y'all well, and we'll see y'all on the other side.